It starts like a movie, doesn't it? One moment you're living your ordinary life, and the next, you're caught in a cinematic whirlwind. The texts in the morning are the first thing you see, intricately woven with inside jokes that are only a day old, but feel like they've existed for years. His name is the last thing on your screen at night. A final, reassuring good night that makes you feel safe and seen. He tells you he's never met anyone like you, that it feels like he's known you forever, that every other relationship in his past was just a pale imitation of this. He paints a picture of the future so vividly, you can almost feel the sun on your skin during that trip he's planning for the two of you next summer. A trip he mentions so casually, as if it's an absolute certainty. He remembers the little things, the name of your childhood pet, your favorite obscure song, the way you take your coffee, the anxieties you confess to him in a moment of vulnerability. He doesn't just remember them. He seems to cherish them, as if they are precious clues to your very soul. It feels like he sees you more deeply than anyone ever has before. It's overwhelming, intoxicating, and for the first time in a long time, you dismantle your walls brick by brick and let yourself believe that this might actually be it. This is real. And then, just as quickly and intensely as it began, it's over. The flood of attention slows to a trickle, and then a deafening silence. The good morning texts, once a guarantee, simply stop. Your carefully crafted messages are left on, read for hours, then days. The calls go straight to voicemail. The man who was planning a future with you last week is now a ghost, a complete stranger who occupies a massive space in your mind, but has vanished from your life. You are left standing in the rubble of a relationship that felt more real than anything, wondering if you imagined the whole thing. The emotional whiplash is brutal, and it leaves you with one burning, sanity-questioning thought. How can someone who seemed so completely, passionately invested in you just disappear? Was any of it real? Or were you just a chapter in a book he had no intention of finishing? The painful truth is, the man you thought you knew was likely never fully there to begin with. He was a projection, a performance, driven by psychological forces he himself may not even understand. And when we peel back the layers of this confusing and devastating behavior, we typically find two very distinct profiles. They look identical on the surface, creating the same storm of affection and the same devastating silence, but their internal worlds, their core motivations, are worlds apart. Let's start with the one who might break your heart the most, because in his own confusing way, he meant every word of it at the time. We'll call him the frightened avoider. This is the man who gets swept away in the fantasy just as much as you do. When he's telling you you're incredible, in that moment, he genuinely believes it. The initial phase of a connection, the chase, the discovery, the idealization, is a space where he feels alive, powerful, and safe. He loves the idea of love. He craves the dopamine rush of a new connection. For him, the beginning isn't a lie. It's a genuine emotional high he is addicted to. But here's the crucial psychological twist. His nervous system has been wired, usually from a very young age, to equate deep, meaningful intimacy with profound danger. True closeness doesn't feel like safety to him. It feels like engulfment. It feels like losing himself, like being trapped, controlled, or having his very identity erased by the needs of another person. So paradoxically, the more real the connection gets, the more you open up to him, the more he feels you genuinely falling for him. The louder the subconscious alarm bells start screaming in his head. Think about that one perfect date, conversation flows for hours. You share vulnerable stories you've told no one else. You feel that beautiful, terrifying click of two souls truly meeting. You go home feeling like you're walking on air, certain that something profound has shifted. To you, this is a confirmation that you're moving forward. To him, it's a trigger that he's gone too far. The intimacy is the threat. The next day, you notice a subtle but undeniable shift. The texts are a little shorter, more generic. He's suddenly swamped with work. He can't make plans for the weekend. His retreat isn't a conscious, malicious decision to hurt you. It's an involuntary, deeply ingrained survival mechanism kicking in. He's not running from you. He's running from the feeling of being swallowed whole by the very intimacy he thought he wanted. He love bombs you because he genuinely wants the fairy tale. But he disappears because he's terrified of what happens when the fairy tale requires him to be a real, consistent, and vulnerable partner. He offers you a key to a house he's not ready to live in himself. And when you try to walk through the door, he bolts it from the inside and escapes out the back window, leaving you on the doorstep, confused and holding a key that no longer fits any lock. He may even feel a pang of regret, but his fear is always stronger than his feelings. But then there's the other type, the one who operates from a much colder, more calculated place. This isn't a man running from fear. This is a man running towards a goal, and you are simply a means to an end. We can call him the Narcissistic Hunter. For this man, love bombing isn't an emotional overflow. It's a strategy. It's a finely tuned tool. He is a student of human desire, and he has perfected the art of mirroring. He listens intently, not to connect with you, but to gather data. He's scanning for your weaknesses, your insecurities, your dreams, your deepest longings. And then he masterfully crafts a persona that is the living embodiment of everything you've ever wanted. He becomes your soulmate by script with chilling precision. This isn't about feeling, it's about winning. You are not a person to him. You are a prize to be won, a source of validation, or what psychologists call narcissistic supply. The chase, the conquest, the act of making you fall completely and utterly for him. That's the entire point. It's a game that feeds his ego and confirms his sense of power and desirability. The intensity he shows you is a performance designed to accelerate the bonding process and lower your defenses. He future fakes not because he's caught up in a dream, but because he knows that talking about a shared future is the fastest way to create a feeling of profound intimacy and security in the present. It's a tactical shortcut to your heart. And here's the twist that makes it so psychologically damaging. The moment he knows he has you, the game is over. The thrill is gone. His interest vanishes the second the conquest is complete. This could be after you sleep with him, after you say, "I love you" first, after you agree to be exclusive, or after you introduce him to your friends and family, thereby validating his catch to the outside world. The specific milestone doesn't matter as much as what it represents. He's won. The fantasy he was chasing, the fantasy of obtaining you, has been replaced by the mundane reality of a real person with real needs, expectations, and emotions. And he's not interested in reality. He's an addict for the high of the hunt. Once the prize is in his hands, it immediately loses its value, and his eyes are already scanning the horizon for the next challenge. The sudden, brutal disappearance isn't a sign of his fear. It's a sign of his boredom and his utter lack of empathy. He didn't lose feelings for you, because he never had them to begin with. He had an appetite, and it was satisfied. The cold, abrupt silence is simply him dropping a toy he's finished playing with without a second thought for the person left behind to pick up the pieces of a reality he so carefully constructed, only to shatter it on a whim. Understanding which of these two men you encountered is the first step to making sense of the chaos he left behind. One was running from his own shadow, terrified of the light you brought into his life. The other was simply using your light to admire his own reflection before moving on to find a new, shinier mirror. In both devastating cases, the story was never truly about you. It was always and only about him. So, we have these two figures: the man running from a ghost in his own mind, and the man who creates ghosts in the lives of others. But to truly understand why they operate this way, we have to look deeper into the formative years where our emotional blueprints are drawn. The frightened avoider didn't just wake up one day with a deep-seated fear of intimacy. This is a learned response etched into his psyche during childhood. Often, this man grew up in an environment where love felt like a transaction that cost him his autonomy. Perhaps he had a parent who was emotionally enmeshed, someone who lived through him, whose love was so overwhelming and needy that it felt like being suffocated. He learned that to be loved was to be controlled, to have his boundaries constantly crossed, to have his own identity subsumed by someone else's emotional needs. Or conversely, he may have witnessed a relationship where one parent completely lost themselves to the other, becoming a shell of a person. The lesson he internalized was profound and visceral. True, deep connection is a trap. It's a loss of self. So when he meets you and feels that genuine spark, his conscious mind is thrilled, but his subconscious programming sounds a 5-alarm fire. His retreat isn't a rejection of you. It's a desperate act of self-preservation against a ghost from his past. He is reenacting an old survival strategy, running from a danger that is no longer present, but feels terrifyingly real inside him. He builds the beautiful house of a new relationship and then sets it on fire himself, because he's convinced that staying inside will eventually cause him to suffocate from the smoke. It's a tragic, self-fulfilling prophecy. He craves connection, but the very thing he craves triggers his deepest fear. The narcissistic hunter, on the other hand, comes from a different kind of emotional landscape. His childhood likely taught him that love and worth are conditional. He wasn't valued for who he was. He was valued for what he did. He received attention for getting the best grades, for scoring the winning goal, for being charming at family gatherings. He learned that people are not sources of connection, but sources of validation. They are mirrors in which he can see a reflection of his own greatness. This creates a person who is fundamentally hollow, with a fragile ego that requires constant external reinforcement. He doesn't know how to generate his own sense of self-worth, so he has to outsource it. This is why he becomes such a masterful hunter. The love bombing is his performance, and your falling for him is the applause he so desperately needs. When you finally succumb to his charm, when you offer him your love and admiration, he gets his narcissistic supply. But like any drug, the high is temporary. The applause fades. The reflection in the mirror becomes familiar, and therefore boring. Your continued love doesn't feed him anymore, because the game has been won. He needs a new audience, a new challenge, a new mirror to prove his power all over again. He disappears without a word because, in his mind, your role in the play is over. He doesn't feel guilt or empathy because to him, you were never a fellow actor. You were a prop. And you don't apologize to a prop when you're done using it. Now here's where the focus has to shift from him to you, because understanding his damage is one thing, but healing from it requires understanding what his behavior triggered inside of you. When you are love-bombed, your brain is flooded with a powerful cocktail of neurochemicals, most notably dopamine. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's the chemical of motivation and reward. The constant validation, the thrilling future faking, the feeling of being the center of someone's universe. It creates an intense dopamine high. Your brain's reward circuits light up like a pinball machine. You become, in a very real, biological sense, addicted to the feeling he provides. Then, he disappears. The source of your dopamine is abruptly cut off. This isn't just an emotional letdown, it's a physiological withdrawal. Your brain goes into a state of intense craving. The obsessive thoughts, the compulsive checking of your phone, the rereading of old messages, the desperate need to understand what went wrong. This is your brain screaming for its fix. You are not going crazy. You are experiencing the crash that inevitably follows an artificially induced high. His withdrawal creates a chemical void, and your mind will do anything to fill it, convincing you that getting him back is the only way to feel normal again. But here's the most important truth in all of this. Your desperate chase to win him back, to get one more text, to have one final conversation, it's almost never about getting him back. He was a phantom, a performance. You can't get back something that was never really there. What you're actually trying to reclaim is your sense of reality and your own self-worth, both of which he shattered when he vanished. His sudden departure leaves a gaping wound of self-doubt. You're left asking, was I not enough? Did I imagine it all? What is so wrong with me that someone could feel so intensely one day and nothing the next? These questions are agonizing. And in that agony, your mind creates a false solution. If you can just get him to come back, if you can just make him want you again, it will prove that it was real. It will prove that you are enough. It will fix the cognitive dissonance and make the world make sense again. You are not trying to win back a person. You are trying to win back a piece of your own sanity. You are trying to repair the damage his illusion did to your reality. The pattern he subjected you to is a direct reflection of his brokenness, his fears, his emptiness. It has nothing to do with your value. His inability to stay has nothing to do with your worthiness to be loved. He is a closed loop, forever replaying a script that was written long before he ever met you. You were simply the latest person cast in a role that was always destined to be temporary. So, the most important question isn't which type of man he was. The real question is, now that you know he was never the answer, which part of yourself are you going to start loving back to life? I know these patterns are incredibly painful to experience, and I hope this helps bring some clarity. I'd really appreciate it if you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell. It helps more than you know, and ensures you won't miss our future explorations into the complexities of the human heart. Thank you for being here.